Hey team, welcome to this next YouTube video. A little bit of a different video here today, but I thought this would be the best time to get a video out like this where we break down a professional's putting stroke. Obviously, as you can see here, and as you can see by the thumbnail, this is Scottie Scheffler, current Masters champion. So he's won it twice in the last 3 years now. So player on form, best in the world by a mile at the minute. So I thought it'd be the best player to break down, have a look at his technique, have a look at what he does really well, and then take it from there. Okay, and these videos were actually taken in round 4 of the Masters, so when the technique is seriously under pressure. So yeah, let's break down his technique from here. See what you can sort of take from this. We'll discuss what he does well and what you can learn from his technique and what you can actually take onto the course just by watching this video. So firstly, let's start with the setup. Obviously a very stable setup. You can see how eyes are pretty much exactly over the ball. You can see how dialed in he is there. Shaft running up the back of the forearms, and then his shoulders, elbows, and toes are all in a line. So very textbook setup position here. I know he does a lot of work with Phil Kenyon, and this is exactly what you'd expect. Just with the eyes exactly over the ball, the shaft running up the back of the forearms, and then the shoulders, elbows, and toes all in a line. You can just see there now, that's putting him in a nice stable posture. Looks like his weight is exactly down the center of his feet, so he's nice and balanced, and he's got a nice neutral spine angle. Okay, and then his head is actually a little bit, I mean, you can probably see just from here. So yeah, I've just started the stroke there, so that's him right at the start. You can see how his head doesn't actually follow his spine angle, so his spine angle is running up more this line, so he's got a tiny bit more of, say, a tabletop finish. Okay, again, that's sort of what you'd expect, because now where he's got this tabletop finish, where his chin's tucked in, he's then looking down directly at the ball. So then he's actually looking for his primary gaze here. If his chin was up and if his head was matching his spine angle, then he'd then be, say, looking for his nose, because his head would be in, say, this position here. And if he's looking for his nose, that's his secondary gaze, and that's not as optimal. So his perception of his alignment, his perception of his stroke wouldn't be as great. So this is very textbook, having all of these balance points and setup points in place, and then having that tabletop finish just where his head is, giving him that primary gaze is super important, and it's something that I recommend for everyone. So if you find that from the down the line view, your head angle is actually matching your spine angle, then so say more like this here, then that's probably going to be meaning that you're going to be looking through your nose, which means your perception's not going to be amazing. So just try and feel like you tuck your chin in. That's going to allow you to look through your primary gaze, give you the best view of your stroke, and then allow you to just have better perception of aiming, which should allow you to hold more putts straight away. So then now that's pretty much the setup covered. Very textbook as we just covered there. What I want to cover is 2 points that I feel like he does really well when it comes to the stroke. The first point being his stroke length. Okay, and obviously you can see here he's got a very short putt. And people, I mean, the most common thing I see with people when they have these short putts is their backswing is just way too long. So if their backswing is way too long, they're going to be giving themselves more time for that club face on the way back to maneuver around, open too much or close too much down on the way through, which is then going to make it hard to come back to a neutral impact position and actually hard to start the ball on line. And these short putts is only really about starting the ball on line. We don't need a lot of pace on them, so it's not too hard to get the pace. It's just about making sure that we keep that face very neutral on the way back, on the way through, then we're going to be guaranteed to hold a short putt. So you can see here, if this is his starting point, notice how short his backswing was right there. Okay, and then through to here. So a very sort of neutral, fairly 50-50 stroke, but you can generally see how short that backswing is. If I just play it full here, you can see how quickly that backstroke finishes, just boom, straight there. Okay, what I generally see with most people from short putts is their backswing would say get up to here, and then they say decelerate on the way through to sort of try and compensate for it. But having that extra length in the backstroke is just going to make it harder to keep that face stable and controlled. So just a tip there on them short putts is you really don't need a long stroke length. A nice short and quick swing will do the job. That will keep the face nice and stable and allow you to start the ball on line. The final point that I want to take from this stroke here, and what you can take onto the course straight away, is the stability of Scottie Scheffler in this video on the right here from face on. This was actually on, say, I think the 14th or 15th on the round 4 at Augusta. So obviously this is where the nerves say may start to kick in. Um, so you can see, I mean, this is even more impressive because obviously when he's now going to the end of his round here, this is where the stroke and the body may get a little bit wobbly. But what I want to point out is how stable he is staying throughout the stroke. So this is his heads, this is his legs, and then obviously his back as well. So his spine angle there. And I just want you to note here how stable he's staying. So you can see that putter coming back, and then you can see that putter coming through. And his head, his legs, and the upper part of his back is staying very, very still. It's only really that sort of triangle from, say, his arms all the way through to his shoulders that are moving. And this triangle here and maybe the top part of his back is sort of controlling the stroke. So you can see how stable his legs and his head are staying. That's just going to allow him to always come back to his setup position at impact. And that's all we're trying to do in putting. We're trying to set ourselves in a neutral position and then swing back into that position. As if our impact and our setup position look identical, then obviously we should be starting the ball on line. And you can see here, if this is his setup position, and then that's his impact position right here, you can pretty much see no real change. Head stayed in the same position, legs stayed in the same position, and the arms have come back to that start position as well. All I see from say a lot of golfers when they're putting is the head and the legs moving way too much in the stroke, whether that's on a short putt or a long putt. This putt here from Scottie was about a good 20-25 feet, so you can see how stable he's staying, even when he's got them sort of mid to long range putts. So that's definitely something to take from this, is to try and keep your legs and your head as stable as possible. So in terms of the things that you can take from Scottie's technique is, firstly, that very textbook setup position, the eyes over the ball, the good balance points, the chin tucked in. Then in terms of the stroke on short putts, trying to keep that stroke length nice and short and sweet and not over exaggerating the length too much. And then in terms of having, say, mid to long range putts, trying to keep the head and the legs very stable. And these are just really good fundamentals that if you do this on the green, no matter what your technique is, this is just going to help you out, because it's going to keep everything a bit more stable, a bit more fluid, and a bit more efficient. So if you like the style of this video, please drop a comment in the comment section below. I'm happy to analyze more golfers and take what they do from their current technique and sort of analyze it and sort of help you guys understand what players do well and what players maybe don't do so well. Because I feel like having that knowledge is just going to only help you out in your own game as well. So if you got this far, thank you for watching. If you can like or subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you next week.